let's take a look at our top selections. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, race number 6 at Aqueduct on Cigar Mile Saturday is the Grade 3 Go for Wand Handicap. Let's throw up the fields. We're going a one-turn mile. This race is for fillies and mares. Nona Madeline is 4-5 on the morning line in this race, Mike. And yes, she's a multiple stakes winner, and we know a mile and an eighth is good for her. I get a little nervous with her at 2-1. At 4-5, I'm very, very nervous. But you look at this field, she probably deserves to be a fairly strong favorite.
Yeah, she does deserve to be the favorite here, Dan. As I feel like you're trying to dance around the fact that she's really not much horse to take 4-5 on. I couldn't agree with you more there. But boy, it's hard to argue with this spot that Pletcher's found for her.
Let's throw up the Timeform U.S. pace projector because we're going to have a razor sharp horse expected to make the lead. Now, Portal Creek is taking not only a step up in class, but she is really going to have to show some speed going a one-turn mile. She set the pace in an easy pace at that last time out, going 2 turns at Parks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be surprised when she's on the early lead in here, but the 2 favorites on the morning line aren't exactly slow horses. So I doubt this horse, sort of shakes loose here and gets some kind of huge advantage on those 2 horses. I'm not knocking her recent form. It's fine. Obviously, she's won 3 of her last 4 starts, and maybe she makes the lead and keeps going.
Now, as I mentioned, Nona Madeline, good at a mile and an eighth, good at 7/8 of a mile, just a versatile filly. And maybe that's her best asset, her tactical speed and her versatility to play around at different distances. Let's watch her last race going 9 furlongs in the turn back, the Alarm Handicap. And I know you didn't like this race, Mike. I thought she had to do at least a little bit of work on the turn. The leader got loose on her. Nona Madeline finally wears her down. And then eventually the closers come by her Royal Flag. From a speed figure standpoint, she's right there and she'll work out a good trip.
Yeah, those things are all true. My problem with her race last time is even if you want to give her credit for doing some work around the turn, Mrs. Orb, who was right alongside her all the way around the turn in there, outfinished her for second and probably ran a better race. Now, Mrs. Orb is a real overachiever. She's a really likable horse, but go pull her PPs. In Formulator, I mean, it's not a great effort from Nona Madeline to get outfinished by that horse when they had basically similar trips in there. She's the horse to beat, Dan. I just don't really know what to say about her. I don't want 4-5 on this horse. Maybe turning back works for her, but how does that explain her good form going 2 turns all summer long here? I mean, I don't really. She's not the kind of horse that I want to be advocating for at 4-5.
Portal Creek, the 2, has won 3 out of her last 4 races for the Guerrero barn. And the win last time out, the race we're going to show right now, kind of opens up new avenues for her because she's been a sprinter her entire career. She showed in this race she was able to get the 2 turns in the mile. It wasn't the blowout victory that we saw at 2 and 4 starts back sprinting, but I think the margin of victory might be a little bit misleading. I thought it's easier than it looked.
Yeah, she was never going to lose to that horse, but they just went 1-2 around the track. This horse actually got a very good ride that day because the horse that wound up finishing second tried to make the lead, and this rider would not let her have it. Around the first turn, made sure that horse took a seat, and then just never let her pass her through the stretch. That was the first time they stretched this horse out ever in her career, and it worked that time. I don't know if it's going to work again.
Sharp Star, the number 3, might have caught the right graded stakes field. The Black-Eyed Susan wasn't the right graded stakes field, and she kind of got bounced around there, chased a real hot pace. I know Miss Marissa was up close to that pace and kept on going, but I think it was a little too much too soon for Sharp Star. She dropped in class and distance, and she wins by a country mile. Let's watch that race last time out over course and distance. She hasn't changed leads in the stretch. She didn't have to. She won by about 20. 101 by her speed figure. She runs that race, she wins.
Yeah, that's true. The real question is where'd that race come from for a horse whose prior top speed figure was a 76? And can she do it again? I agree with you. If she does it again, she will likely win. Another horse at a short price that I don't feel that comfortable advocating for, but it does sort of feel like it's between her and Nona Madeline in here. So pick your poison. This horse did run really well last time.
Overheated's best angle, I think, is she likes Aqueduct. She's 2 for 7 here. She's 0 for 15 everywhere else. They're going to try to go turf to dirt with her. So you got a few angles here, and maybe a wet track won't be terrible. But from a speed figure standpoint, she's up against it, at least from a dirt speed figure standpoint. And she's more of a $50,000 claimer, I think, than a stakes horse.
Yeah, she needs a lot of luck to get anything in here. I guess they hustled her in to make the race go.
And Stand for the Flag, the number 5. Who knows what we're going to get here? We haven't seen her since February. Now, she finished ahead of On Her Way, who's a nice mare, has come back. She's won, I believe, 3 races, including a stakes, since that race way back on February the 17th. Of course, this filly was also trained by Jason Service, back then. And who knows what we get off the layoff?
I don't know what you're going to get off the layoff. We'll see what she can do here for a new trainer. Rob Atras does a really good job. I don't know, Dan. I don't know how you feel about her. I personally don't like any of her races. Even when Service had her, I was not a fan of this horse. I know she finished ahead of On Her Way last time, but that was, more circumstantial than anything else. They walked around the track when nobody made up any ground on anybody else. They just, sort of held their positions all the way around. I don't like this horse. Maybe she's some kind of good price and you want to take a shot here. I have no problem with that.
I do think the wet track could be a great equalizer for her because her best race, far and away, in my opinion at least, came in that maiden win at Belmont, going a 1-turn mile in a 16th. I mean, she stalked and finished really well. And maybe the wet track is just what she wants. She is 8-1 on the morning line, and I think that's fair considering that this might not be the greatest graded stakes race we've seen. Graceful Princess for Pletcher, blinkers off. Even with the blinkers off and cutting back in distance, you got to think that this filly's going to be forwardly placed in here.
I think they probably will use her speed again. That's what they did last time in the Turn Back the Alarm. She got clear on the lead. She was no match for those horses. I guess you could say this field isn't as tough, and maybe cutting back will help her.
And again, considering this pedigree, Tepid out of the phenomenal mare Hover de Grace, they're trying to get some black type because she would make a very, very valuable broodmare prospect. Let's take a look at our top picks for the Go for Wand. Mike, you're going with the 3 in here. She has been very, very impressive.
I guess listen, if I didn't have to make picks for this race, I wouldn't have, but those are the rules. And I went 3-1 in here. I just didn't like anybody else.
I tend to feel the same way. I went with Nona Madeline. I think I like her a little bit more than you. I mean, if I didn't like her at all, I'd like her a little bit more than you. But I think that this is just a good spot for her. I think she's solid enough to win a race like this. 3-1-2-6, though. Mike going with the upwardly mobile Sharp Star. 1-3-5-2 for me. It's the Go for Wand to stakes laden Saturday at Aqueduct. Best of luck.